You need to hear this if you're a global citizen. The year is 2025. The global landscape is fraught with tension. At the heart of this unease lies a relationship as complex and consequential as any in history. The relationship between the United States and China. Once hailed as a partnership poised to define the 21st century, it is now marked by suspicion, rivalry, and the looming specter of conflict. The United States and China, the world's two largest economies, find themselves locked in a trade war with no end in sight. Tit-for-tat tariffs have disrupted global supply chains and fueled economic uncertainty. Beyond trade, the two superpowers are engaged in a high-stakes competition for technological dominance, military superiority, and ideological influence. The rhetoric is heating up. China accuses the United States of trying to contain its rise. The United States criticizes China's human rights record and aggressive foreign policy. Trust is eroding. Dialogue is dwindling. The world watches nervously, wondering if this is the dawn of a new Cold War. The current trade war began in 2018 under the Trump administration. The United States imposed tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods, citing unfair trade practices and intellectual property theft. China retaliated with tariffs of its own. Fast forward to 2025. The trade war has escalated under the Biden administration. In March 2025, the United States imposed a 10% tariff on Chinese goods due to concerns about fentanyl production. This was followed by a 25% tariff on almost all goods from Canada and Mexico. China responded swiftly and decisively. It imposed tariffs ranging from 10 to 15% on a range of U.S. agricultural products including chicken, wheat, corn, and soybeans. It also restricted 25 U.S. firms from doing business in China and filed a lawsuit against the United States at the World Trade Organization. Beyond the headlines of the trade war, a silent battle is raging in cyberspace. Both the United States and China are engaged in sophisticated cyber operations, targeting each other's government agencies, businesses, and critical infrastructure. The United States accuses China of widespread cyber espionage, aimed at stealing intellectual property, trade secrets, and sensitive government data. China, in turn, accuses the United States of conducting similar activities, as well as of using its cyber capabilities to undermine Chinese companies and sow discord within Chinese society. The stakes are high. Cyber attacks have the potential to disrupt critical infrastructure, cripple economies, and even spark military conflict. As the United States and China become increasingly reliant on technology, the threat of cyber warfare looms large. In recent years, China has adopted a more assertive and confrontational approach to diplomacy, often referred to as wolf warrior diplomacy. This shift is a departure from China's previous emphasis on peaceful rise and hiding its strength, biding its time. Wolf warrior diplomacy is characterized by a willingness to challenge the West, defend China's interests aggressively, and promote China's narrative on the global stage. Chinese diplomats have become more vocal in criticizing Western countries, particularly the United States, on issues ranging from human rights to trade to the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic. This new assertiveness has alarmed some Western observers, who see it as a sign of China's growing confidence and its determination to reshape the global order in its favor. Others argue that it is a natural response to Western pressure and attempts to contain China's rise. Section 5. A History of Cooperation and Conflict. To understand the current state of U.S.-China relations, it is essential to look back at the long and complex history between the two nations. This history is marked by periods of both cooperation and conflict. One of the most significant events in U.S.-China relations was President Richard Nixon's historic visit to China in 1972. This visit ended decades of estrangement between the two countries, and paved the way for the establishment of diplomatic relations in 1979. However, despite this thaw in relations, the U.S. and China continued to view each other with suspicion. The Cold War cast a long shadow, with the U.S. supporting Taiwan, which China considers a breakaway province. Following the end of the Cold War, U.S.-China relations entered a period of relative stability. Economic ties flourished, with China joining the World Trade Organization in 2001. However, underlying tensions remained, particularly over Taiwan and the South China Sea. Section 6. The Economic Fallout, Winners and Losers. The trade war between the United States and China is having a ripple effect across the global economy. Both countries are feeling the pain, but so are their trading partners. In China, the trade war has contributed to a slowdown in economic growth. Chinese businesses are facing higher tariffs on their exports to the United States, while Chinese consumers are paying more for imported goods. The trade war has also disrupted supply chains and made it more difficult for Chinese companies to access foreign investment. In the United States, the trade war has led to higher prices for consumers and businesses. American farmers have been hit hard by Chinese tariffs on agricultural products, while American manufacturers are facing higher costs for imported components. The trade war has also created uncertainty for businesses, making it more difficult to plan for the future. Section 7. The global impact caught in the crossfire. The trade war between the United States and China is not just a bilateral issue. It is having a profound impact on the global economy and the rules-based trading system. Other countries are being forced to choose sides or risk being caught in the crossfire. Some countries, such as Canada and Mexico, have been directly targeted by U.S. tariffs. Others, such as those in the European Union, are facing pressure from both sides to take sides. The trade war is also undermining the WTO, which is the main international body responsible for regulating global trade. The United States has blocked the appointment of judges to the WTO's appellate body, effectively paralyzing its dispute settlement system. Section 8. The future of U.S. China relations, confrontation or cooperation. The future of U.S. China relations is uncertain. Some experts believe that the two countries are headed for a new Cold War, characterized by intense competition and the risk of conflict. Others argue that the relationship is too complex and interconnected for a complete breakdown. There are a number of factors that will shape the future of U.S.-China relations, including economic interdependence. Despite the trade war, the United States and China remain deeply economically intertwined. China is America's largest trading partner, while the United States is China's second-largest trading partner. This economic interdependence could serve as a brake on conflict, as both countries have a strong interest in maintaining stable economic relations. Strategic competition. The United States and China are engaged in a strategic competition for global influence. This competition is playing out on multiple fronts, including military, technological, and ideological. The outcome of this competition will have a major impact on the future of the international system. Domestic politics in both the United States and China are likely to play a significant role in shaping the bilateral relationship. In the United States, there is growing bipartisan support for a tough stance on China. In China, the Communist Party is facing increasing pressure to assert China's position on the world stage. Section 9. Beyond the headlines, a call for understanding. The relationship between the United States and China is complex, consequential, and often misunderstood. It is easy to get caught up in the headlines about trade wars, cyber attacks, and wolf warrior diplomacy, but it is important to remember that this relationship is about much more than just competition and conflict. The United States and China have a shared interest in addressing global challenges such as climate change, pandemics, and nuclear proliferation. They also have a shared responsibility to manage their relationship in a way that promotes peace, stability, and prosperity for both countries and for the world. Moving forward, it is essential for the United States and China to find ways to manage their differences, build trust, and identify areas of cooperation. This will require leadership, dialogue, and a willingness to see beyond the headlines. The future of the world may depend on it.